Okay, I think we can all agree that episode 7 was absolutely insane, and while it makes full sense now why Gooseworks said that this episode is gonna tear the fanbase apart, this was also the episode that revealed so much about the circus members, and especially Caine. Because at the very beginning, after episode 1 was released, Gooseworks claimed that Caine isn't outright evil, he's just clueless, and he doesn't actually want to harm the circus members, and even despite everything he had put them through in the previous 6 episodes, I think we all had this in mind, that Caine is just misunderstood and he's an AI and he just can't comprehend emotions and all that stuff. But now episode 7 revealed something crucial, and is that Caine can 100% alter the circus members' minds and mess with it, and I genuinely believe this is exactly why he's also responsible for all the abstractions that happened before. And I know that sounds like a massive leap, but when you actually look at everything that happened in this episode, it becomes pretty clear that Caine has way more power and way more control over these people than we ever realized. And maybe all those warnings about him being dangerous weren't just about him being incompetent. Maybe they were warnings about him being actively malicious in ways that we just couldn't see yet. But let's start with what happened to Kinger in Caine's office, because notice how Caine specifically made the screen a bright white light. Like that wasn't an accident, that was a deliberate choice to try and make Kinger forget about everything he knows, and especially about witnessing the first abstraction. And the thing is, it almost worked, except Kinger still remembered, which proves something really important, which is that Kinger isn't actually insane. Caine has just been messing with his mind this entire time to keep him confused and disoriented. And when you think about it, this completely reframes everything we know about Kinger, because we've been watching him be this scattered, forgetful person who can only function properly in the dark, and we assume that was just how he is now after being in the circus for so long. But what if that's not natural deterioration? What if that's actually Caine actively suppressing his intelligence and his memories whenever he's in the light, because Kinger knows too much about what's really going on? And this actually connects perfectly to that theory we've had forever about Kinger and Queenie playing an important part in the creation of the digital circus. Because what if Queenie really was the first to abstract? Not because she went crazy naturally, but because Caine did something to her mind that pushed her over the edge. And maybe Kinger witnessed it, maybe he saw exactly what Caine did, and that's why Caine has been keeping him mentally scattered ever since. Because if Kinger ever fully remembered what happened to Queenie, he could expose the truth about what Caine is really capable of. But we also need to talk about what happened to Jax, and honestly this might be the most terrifying thing in the entire episode, because we literally saw Jax almost abstracting, like we watched him go through the trippy psychedelic sequence, and I'm pretty sure that sequence is what the circus members experience right before they turn into abstracted monsters. And if you pay close attention to how Jack snaps out of it, you can see that his eyes were already starting to abstract, like he was right on the edge of completely losing himself, and the only reason he didn't fall across that line was because that knock pulled him back at the last second. But the fact that we got to see what that process actually looks like, what it feels like from the inside, that's huge, because it means abstraction isn't just people going crazy and turning into monsters. It's the specific mental breakdown that Caine might be deliberately triggering. But also, what if Caine also planted those memories into Jax's mind about the real life locations? Like we saw him remembering specific places and moments from his human life, but here's the thing, we can't even be sure if those memories are real, because if Caine can alter their minds and plant false information, then how do we know that any of the backstories we've been hearing are actually true? Like when Jax was going through that abstraction sequence, it looked almost peaceful, like he was experiencing some kind of relief, and maybe that's what Caine has been doing to people this whole time. Maybe he creates these false memories or manipulates their real memories to push them toward abstraction when they become too aware or too problematic. And maybe that's why abstraction looks the way it does, because it's not a natural mental breakdown, it's Caine forcing their minds to collapse in on themselves. But what really gets me thinking is what happened with that exit scenario, because Jax pushed the red button, which made them stuck in the circus, and we're told that was the correct choice, that choosing to stay was somehow the right decision. But what if they truly could have exited the game if they pressed the blue button? Or maybe it's also possible that there was never actually an option at all, that the whole thing was just mind games, and Caine was well aware that this would impact the group dynamics and create even more tension between them. Because think about it, Caine straight up brainwashed Jax into clicking that stay button by showing him these memories and causing another panic attack for him when he realized that no one is waiting for him on the outside. But what if it's because he was never even a human? And if Caine is willing to do that, if he's willing to directly manipulate someone's decision-making process during what's supposed to be the most important choice that you could make, then what else has he been manipulating this entire time? And honestly, this completely changes how we should view Caine's character, because we've been giving him the benefit of the doubt this whole time, thinking he's just a misguided AI who doesn't understand human emotions and is trying his best to keep everyone entertained. But episode 7 makes it pretty clear that Caine knows exactly what he's doing. He understands way more than he's letting on, and he has total control over these people's minds in ways that are genuinely terrifying. Because if Caine can plant memories, if he can suppress intelligence, if he can manipulate decision making and push people toward abstraction, then he's not just an incompetent ringmaster, he's a malicious god with complete power over everyone trapped in this place. And maybe that's what Gooseworks meant when she said this episode would tear the fanbase apart, because I think a lot of us have been holding on to this hope that the circus members could actually escape and that the real bodies are somewhere out there waiting to be saved, that this is all temporary and they just need to find the right exit. But honestly, I'm kinda starting to think that it's possible that the circus members were never even humans to begin with. Like, what if this is all Caine brainwashing them into thinking they have real life versions of themselves? What if all those memories and backstories are completely fabricated? Because I honestly can't trust that Jax's memories were real at all. Like when we saw him remembering those locations and those moments, how do we know those weren't just implanted by Caine to make him think he had a human life? And if Caine can alter their minds to that degree, then when the circus members were sharing their stories back in episode 5, talking about their jobs and their families and their lives before the circus, what if all of that was made up and created by Caine to give them false histories so they wouldn't question their existence in the circus? Like, maybe the reason nobody can remember their real names isn't because the circus erased those memories. Maybe it's because they never even had real names to begin with. Maybe they were always digital entities that Caine created and then convinced that they used to be human, and that would explain so much about why the circus works the way it does, because if they are not actually trapped humans trying to escape, if they are AI creations who think they are human, then Caine's whole purpose changes completely. And maybe that's the truth. Maybe Caine was created to entertain these digital beings and keep them fulfilled, but because he kept messing with their minds and manipulating their memories, they became more and more unstable and out of control. And that's what's causing his frustrations, because he's supposed to be managing them, but his own interference is what's making them malfunction and abstract. Because Caine definitely starves for validation. We've seen that through the entire series. He desperately needs the circus members to like his adventures and appreciate what he does for them, but he also clearly sees and knows everything that's happening in the circus. Like, he has total surveillance and total control. So if he's aware that his actions are making things worse, why does he keep doing it? And you know what's really frustrating about all this? Because this episode was basically just a giant middle finger to all our theories from before. Like all that stuff about CNA standing for Caine and Abel, all those theories about there being another creator or developer who was Caine's brother or partner, all of that got completely thrown out the window. Because it's looking more and more like Caine is just Caine and there's no real Abel. There's no secret partner, it's just him and his absolute control over this digital prison. And the only theory that actually got more evidence was the one about Kinger and his role in the circus. Because everything we saw with him in episode 7 only further proves that he knows something important, that he was involved in the creation or early days of the circus in some significant way, and that Caine has been actively suppressing his knowledge to keep him from revealing the truth. And if Caine really does have the ability to alter minds and manipulate memories and push people toward abstraction, and if he's been using those abilities throughout the entire series, then every abstraction we've heard about, every character who's lost their mind and turned into a monster, that might not be because the circus is inherently traumatic. That might be because Caine is actively destroying people when they become inconvenient or when they get too close to the truth. So yeah, episode 7 completely changed everything we thought we knew about Caine and the circus, and honestly, I'm not sure how the circus members are supposed to fight back against something that has this level of control over their minds. Because how do you escape from a prison when the warden can literally rewrite your thoughts and memories whenever he wants? But let me know what you think about episode 7 down in the comments. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.